Get to here on the Jordy Culotta show. The numbers for LSU football is the most alarming, and we reacted to that last night. And if you missed it, I won't go all in on what we talked about. But if you're here on this Monday morning, to me, this is another piece of the wake that Ed Ogeron, Derek Panamsky, and crew leave behind, right? And I'm not piling on, but this is just the facts. And when you look up and you see a depth chart at a bowl game with 38 scholarship players on a Division I college football program, forget the fact that they won the national championship 2 years ago. That this program was in the national championship game 3 years ago. Let's just call it that. 3 years ago now. And this is where their roster is. And we gave the examples last night of John Emery and Apu Ika. All right? Apu Ika, the example is simple, right? You look up for Baylor on Saturday night, and this guy is controlling the entire game. He is unblockable. The line of scrimmage is dominated by Ika on Saturday night in the Sugar Bowl versus Ole Miss. They had no answer for him. They could not block him. They could not double team him. They could not move him. He left LSU because of a scheme change. Are you kidding me? Like, that is one of the most mismanaged pieces of personnel that I can sit back and look at. The fact that you give up on that guy, you let that guy walk because the scheme doesn't fit. Like, hey, coach, figure it out. This guy's a pro, right? You're going to let this guy walk? Because let's just say that LSU's in the Sugar Bowl on Saturday. What would it have been like to see Apu Ika dominating Liam Shanahan? What would that have been like? It would have been just about as bad as watching Dare Rosenthal leading the offensive line when you went to Lexington. Another mismanaged piece of the roster. Now, that was on compliance, and and like some of you were reacting on, on social media yesterday. Not all of the accountability falls at the feet of the head coach, and you're right. There is some sense of it that falls on the player. But what I tried to tell you last night, and Mikey can go more into this, not only was Mikey a student athlete, but he was a superstar player on campus while he was here. It is hard, almost impossible, for a college program, especially the football program, to experience the academic failure that LSU football has this past season. People are asking, where's Dwight McGlothern? Where's Antoine Sampa? I don't have it confirmed, but I do know that they were hit by a rash of grade problems, like raided by the academic department because of stuff that they did not take care of from the academic side during last semester. And I'm telling you this, the John Emery example that we gave at the beginning of the season, where there were certain coaches and counselors and personnel within that program that did not know what classes the starting running back was enrolled in, and come to find out he wasn't enrolled in enough hours to be eligible for the season opener and the season because of his own doing, but because the people around him weren't keeping him in check. Didn't give him good advice. What I'm trying to tell you is, it is almost impossible for guys at that level in a program like LSU to fail academically. Like, they have to put forth effort and energy. They have to take care of their duties. But it is spelled out for them on how to get it done. The most difficult part about their day is football, not academics. And that's not on purpose. And that's not on accident. That's on purpose. And to see this many guys hit by grades, casualties like John Emery, who has now said he's locked in. That's Frank Wilson just doing work, right? I mean, if you saw the tweet come out from Emery over the last 24 hours of him saying that he's locked into LSU, that's just the best recruiter in the state, and Frank Wilson re-recruiting a Louisiana kid back to LSU. I mean, if I'd have told you 3 weeks ago, a month ago, that Emery was going to be eligible and playing next season, would you have bought it? No way, right? Now it looks like he's coming back. But 3 months ago, LSU's coach, personnel, people around him didn't even know what classes he was in. People, that is a gross misrepresentation and poor management of a college football roster when you don't know what your academic side of your starting running back is taking part in. And then to look up and see that there's only 38 scholarship players available for the bowl game has to be, I mean, like, I know it can't be to Ed Ogeron with the $17 million in the bank and the national championship ring. But I mean, like, if you're a football coach and that's your team that you were in charge of, and they get to the bowl game and they only got 38 players, what the hell's been going on? Like, how does that happen? I mean, really, how do you get to 38 scholarship players at a Division I program that has not been penalized by the NCAA? I'm telling you, the damage that Ogeron and Panamsky did to the LSU football roster is tenfold worse than what the NCAA could have come in here and done. 38 scholarship players. That's like USC with Lane Kiffin 5-6 years. I mean, like 10 years ago. Where they were like taking on people where they had like 35, 38 scholarships. They were counting on walk-ons and stuff. But that was NCAA mandated. That was a fallout from the Reggie Bush scandal. This is on their own doing. They didn't know what classes their starting running back was going to be in. They told Apu Ika to walk over scheme. They had 38 players dressing out for the bowl. I mean, like, LSU football it looks like it's kind of starting to turn, shambles. I mean, it was 2
years after national championship.
Absolutely.
It's unbelievable.
In shambles. I mean, for you to go in, you know what 38 scholarship football players look like on a Division I, like in a Division I locker room? If you just walked into LSU's locker room looks like a Walmart. It's like the size of a Walmart, right? Like the building. You know what 38 scholarship players look like in there? It looks like 20,000 people sitting in Tiger Stadium. I mean, it's like Barrett. You're like, yo, is anybody here? Do we have a quarterback? John Trey Kirkland. I mean, listen to B.J. Ojolari last night. We asked Kayshawn. Kayshawn, you ever seen John Trey play quarterback? No. You think he's going to play in the bowl game? That's what I heard. He's the best player on the team. Maybe the other best player on the team for the last 2 weeks has been on the show saying he's starting. I mean, like, I love to see it. I can't wait to see it. But it's really happening. I mean, like, they're really going to start John Trey Kirkland in a bowl game because they ain't got a quarterback.
Yeah, Matt O'Dowd.
He's on crutches.
What?
That's what I heard.
What?
Yeah, like
Coach, I'll tell you this. If I'm a walk-on quarterback and I have an opportunity to play in a bowl game, bro, you better amputate my leg before I am not playing. I'm not showing crutches. I'm you know what, I'm going, huh?
No, I'm not going to ask it.
What?
I don't know him.
I don't know him either. I'm just saying, like.
No, I'm with you.
If this is my one opportunity to say, hey, the likelihood of me getting in a game
is zero.
After this. Coach, I'm driving to Mexico, and I'm getting as much pain pills and as much illegal over-the-counter shit, and saying, hey, you know what? I'm making myself play. I don't care if my leg's broken.
Stick a needle in my eye.
I need to do it. I need to figure this out.
It's the only chance you got.
No, that's for sure.
Well, and doesn't that speak to the incompetence also is because of how they handled the Nussmeier situation with the red shirt? Because if you don't play him in that one game, then you don't burn the red shirt the way that you did.
Doesn't play in the Arkansas game. We don't.
Right. Mm-hmm. So if he doesn't play in that Arkansas game, or I guess Dougie Nussmeier and the quarterback kicked the door down, essentially, is the picture that O painted. And so if you are able to save that game, at least you have that in your back pocket to where you have a scholarship quarterback on your team, and now you don't. And so this is where it leaves you, where you have your fan base rooting for lecture star quarterback that got ahead and taken a snap at quarterback in 5 years. And that's who the fans want to see.
Yeah. No, it's going to be look, man, it's going to be entertaining. Brian Burgess, curiously excited to see how Kirkland performs at quarter. I think that's probably the overriding sentiment of the entire fan base is people are kind of like, man,
something to look
forward to. Let's
is
watch
a little
that.
Intriguing.
Yeah.
All right, let's see what LSU looks like. You got a new coach. You got somebody that's got nothing to lose. Brad Davis has been retained by Brian Kelly. His job security is safe. He could go out and win 60-0 or get clubbed 60-0, and he's still going to have a job. So, I mean, from that standpoint, you go out there with really nothing to lose, which is a really great place to be in sports. You know what I mean? Like, when you have that mentality of, guys, we got all the case of the efforts. Like, screw it. Let's just go play. And I really believe if LSU goes athlete on athlete, even with 38 scholarship players, there's still not guys on Kansas State that can guard Brian Thomas.
Well, offensively, they're not depleted. They're more depleted defensively, right, than offensively. Yeah.
But I still think that the pressure that they are going to apply on Kansas State from an offensive standpoint, Kansas State's not going to. Like I said, LSU could almost flash the card to Kansas State and tell them what we're running. Tell Kansas State what LSU's running. We're running RPO right, and it could be Jontre, or Jaray Jenkins and Brian Thomas on one side. You're running run pass option with Jontre, and they just don't have enough athletes to stop them. You know what I mean? Like so it's going to be intriguing to watch. Just kind of what it looks like, how it feels. But, I mean, one thing that can't be denied is that the numbers of LSU right now, the scholarship players that they have, it's inexcusable. It is a fireable offense. It's insubordination. It is not doing your job. It is failing at an epic proportion. However you want to paint it, it is dire for LSU that they have 38 scholarship players to play in the bowl game, and then to rebuild and rehabilitate the roster into a competitive one in 8 months. I mean, like, you've got to do some work to get there, to be competitive. And it just, when other teams are recruiting and replenishing, that's your competition. Texas A&M, Georgia, Alabama, who you sit at the table with in the Southeastern Conference, and you've got to play behind this 8-ball, man, that's a hell of a disposition to be in. That's a hell of a starting point that you're going to have to fight from. Is it possible to do? Yes, the LSU brand can get you there, and with some of the things that are happening in and around recruiting, I think that you can get there sooner rather than later. But it's going to take some work, man. It is going to take some sincere work when you look up and see that Darius McGee is starting at cornerback for LSU on Tuesday night. I couldn't pick Darius McGee out of a crowd of 2, and that is no disrespect to Darius McGee, because I don't think I'm supposed to be able to. I don't think that he imagined that he'd be playing as a true freshman in the bowl game. But because of the leadership that was in position at LSU football, this cat's looking up, and at the final game of the season, he's got to start. It's wild.